Okay, we're going to run through the assumptions. It's page 4 in the notes. So the demand curve facing a perfectly competitive firm is perfectly elastic or horizontal. So what we're saying here is they'll have to take the market price and they can sell as much as they want at that market price, and there's no reason for them to change it. So if we read on here, it's because they're selling an identical or homogeneous product. So each firm's quantity sold is small relative to the total market size. So basically, they make up a tiny amount of the marketplace, so therefore they're largely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Therefore, they're a price taker, so they accept the market price. So what we mean here is they're selling the exact same good as everyone else. They're only tiny, and they only sell the same exact same thing as everyone else. So therefore, they have no impact on the market whatsoever, and they just take whatever the market price is. So what we said in class was that this is an example of, say, wheat, of Christmas trees drawn in up here, and for lots of Christmas trees that'll be the same scenario. But once you brand them, like if you made them certain types of Christmas trees or gave something free with them, then it moves away from perfect competition because they're not exactly identical. But the market for wheat is a traded commodity in the world, and basically people buy and sell it, and the market price goes up and down depending on demand and supply of it. And if you're a wheat farmer and a wheat seller, you just accept whatever the market price is for wheat, and you can sell at that price. So if we go to the assumptions, there are many buyers in the industry. What does that mean? It means no one can influence the market by their own actions. So therefore, the individual firm are also price takers. They just act independently and they accept the market price. No one is big enough or strong enough to gain from any economies of scale or to change the market price. If you want to buy wheat, you just accept whatever price wheat is traded at. Number two, there are many sellers in the industry. So same thing, no seller can influence by their own actions the market price. So therefore, they are price takers as well. Each wheat farmer is so small that they can't do anything except accept the market price. So therefore, they can't influence the market in any way. So that's why the price level then is or the demand curve is a horizontal line, because nobody can influence the price of it except the overall market. So the goods are homogeneous. We already saw this here. That means that they are exactly the same and identical. They can't be distinguished between. Consumers can't differentiate between different sellers' goods. Therefore, uh, no firms would spend anything on advertising. There's freedom of entry and exit in and out of the industry, so there's nothing to prevent firms from joining, say, very high startup costs, patents or copyrights or anything like that. If someone wanted to be a wheat farmer, they could just jump in and be a wheat farmer, start growing it and start selling it. No barriers exist. That's important then when we look at how much profits are going to be made in the industry. There's perfect knowledge or reasonable knowledge of profits. So basically, people in the market are able to figure out how much money is being made by other firms. Consumers are also aware of what other firms are charging for their goods. So why this is important then, if sellers or possible farmers can see if other people are making large profits, they could also join the marketplace if they wanted to. And that's important then when we look at moving from the short run to the long run as to whether or not people would want to join or be able to join. Each firm is a profit maximizer, so if you're a profit maximizer, you produce where MC equals M more and MC cuts M more from below, rising after that point. If we just get a quick reminder what that means, we are saying that the average cost curve looks like that, and the marginal cost curve looks something like that, cutting average cost at its lowest point and the minimum point. So if we just take our marginal cost curve, we're seeing that it's kind of like a Nike tick. It goes downward from specialization of labor and spreading a fixed cost, and then goes upwards due to the law of diminishing marginal returns. And what this is saying, that as we make more stuff, the additional cost of making one more unit, if we go from here to here and here to here, the cost is going up. It's moving away from zero. So as we make more after this point here, the additional cost of making one more is going up the whole time. So in perfect competition, we were saying that the demand curve is going to be horizontal, so it looks something like that, which is called our average revenue, which is our demand curve. And then we will see that if we were to make this amount of units here, if we were to make one more unit here and one more unit here, that the additional revenue from making one more would stay the same, with all goods be sold at P1. So the marginal revenue will be the same as you sell more and more units. So therefore our margin revenue will be a horizontal line as well. So let's add our MC and MR curves back in there and let's have a look. So what we are saying is if this firm here wanted to be a profit maximizer, they would go to the point where they would keep on producing until the point where the extra cost of making an extra good will be equal to the extra revenue received from selling that extra good. So if we were to produce at Q1 here, the additional cost of making a good would be here for this extra good, and the additional revenue then would be here. So we can see if we make this good, the money we get in, the marginal revenue, is greater than the marginal cost of making it. So therefore this would be worthwhile selling and we should sell. So then what this guy has to consider is, should we sell one more or not? And the answer to that, if you're after maximizing your profits, is we should, as long as the margin revenue stays above the marginal cost when you sell it. So you should keep on going, sell more and more and more until you reach this point here, because when you reach this point your MC will cut MR from below and be equal to each other. So the amount of money you get in for the additional units sold will be equal to the amount of money it costs you. But if you go past this point here, then the marginal cost will be greater than your margin revenue and you would lose money. So therefore, if you're looking at a firm in perfect competition and we assume they're profit maximizers from our assumptions, we will find where MC cuts MR from below, and we will say would be the quantity where they operate at. And the final assumption is no collusion exists, so therefore people don't group together to influence the price in the market. So that kind of backs up our many small buyers and many small sellers. Nobody becomes big enough or has enough market control or power that they can influence the price in any way, and everyone just has to accept whatever price the market sets.